Okay, so here's the first three, 1, 3, and 5. Okay, and it says use the graph to write an equation of the line. All right, so the y-intercept you already know is what? 0. So what's your b value? B is 0, right? How do I find m? What did we say yesterday? Spencer?
2/10.
Yeah. This is y is over x's, right? Change in y over change in x, right? Remember, change in y over change in x. Rise over run, right? So, what did we change in y? What's the y value of this point since we're going from 0, 0? 2, right? What's the change in x? What did we do? Go over 10, right? So what's 2/10 reduced to? 1/5, right? So my equation is y equals 1/5 x plus b, which is 0, right? Or just 1/5 x. All right, it says interpret that. All right, this is for tips. All right, here's the cost, how much it cost you. This is how much you tipped. All right, so basically, all right, $1 in tips for every $5 in meal charge, right? For every $5 you owe or whatever, however you want to say that. For every $5 a meal costs you, you should pay $1 to the server, right? Or that's 20%, right? 1/5 is 20%, 0.2. 2/10 is 0.2, right? So basically, that's what people go by, 20%. All right. So, what's the change in y here? And change in x? And 100 over 2, which is what? Fire drill. Go out the door, hang a left, and go down the steps at first door. How do you pause Screencastify? Right? How do you pause it? I don't think you can either. Good. Mr. Parker? Doing all right. Got like a sinus headache today. It's usually a couple days, but right now it's um,
That was waste time.
There's the restroom.
Sure.
Everyone's already in here.
I have legs. I use them to walk upstairs and into this restroom.
That's a good reason. That's a good excuse, I guess. I like his excuse. His excuse was that he had legs.
What, is that wrong?
No. Yes.
They were apologizing.
It isn't true anymore.
Oh my God.
That's not a good thing.
You want to take it?
Stop playing. No.
Super glue subject.
Yes. I've done that before. It sucks. Don't do it. Well, let's build the door.
What's where you going, Spencer? You guys do that? Try to take you out. Good hustle, getting back. All right, so do we understand how I got 50? Changing Y, the red, changing X was the blue, right? So just 100 divided by 2. So what's the B value? Where's it hitting the Y-axis? Nobody can tell me? It's 100, isn't it? That point right there is 100. So Y equals 50X plus 100. Okay. So that's a savings account, right? So your balance is increasing, going up $50 each week, right? Basically what it's saying. That makes sense? All right, and then again, to find the slope of this one, we got 2 points. Again, change in Y, it goes from 55 to 165. What is that, 110? And then it goes from 1 to 3 on the X. 2. So the slope's 55. What's the Y-intercept? It's 0, right? So it's just Y equals 55X. We should be understanding how to get the equation. All right, Brockman? Got that now? All right, the equation of Y is equal to mx plus b, right? So find m, and then find b, just look at the picture, right? Look at the graph for your b. All right? Any questions on 7? Sit down here. That was like the example we did yesterday. We had to figure out carrier A. They gave us the other one, right? They gave us carrier B already. So we had 2 points. I guess I would just use the first 2 points. What's 650 minus 500? And what's 6 minus 3? So we got a slope of 50 again. All right. Now how do I get, that's my M. How do I get B then? What did we do yesterday? Tristan?
We put one of the x values, or we substitute one of the values for y and x.
Right. We just put in, you pick one of those 5 points that you get from the table, in for y and x, and then solve for b. All right? So let's just do this. We'll just use this one. All right? So y, here's y, right, is 950. Oh, I'm sorry, 800. And x is 9. So that's 800 and 450. When you multiply 50 by 9. So what's 800 minus 450? Well, you got it in front of you. What's the answer? 350. Thank you. Okay? So our equation for carrier A was y equals 50x, right there. And then we figured out B to be 350. Carrier B they gave us, right here, y equals 55x plus 300. So what do we got to do to find when the total costs are the same? What do we do with those two equations? Same means what? Equal, right? So we're just going to set them equal to finish that up. It comes out to be 10 months. Carrier A is less per month because it's $50 a month. Carrier B was $55 a month. Okay? That slope tells us how much per month. Okay, 9 was, what was wrong with that? Caleb, what did you say? Caleb Collins? One of this is wrong. What was it? How do you find slope, Spencer? Right, it's y minus y, right? Over x minus x. What did they do? They put the x's in the top, right? And the y's in the bottom. They flipped it. Okay. And then I worked out what it should be. So it says describe and correct it. All right, so correcting it, it comes out to y equals 3/4 x plus 8 instead of 4/3. It's a reciprocal of that. And then substitute in to find your b value. And then you were supposed to, it says in 11 through 14, determine whether data show a linear relationship. If so, write an equation of a line of fit. Then estimate when x is 15. Okay? So I picked 1, 6, and 627, the first two, and went from there. Plotted, did our scatter plot, and then I got close to 65 when you plug in 15. It's 15 minutes, right? X is the number of minutes. So 65 calories almost that you burn. All right, you would be close, hopefully, to that if you actually did it. All right? Okay? And then the last one, 13. All right, I'll just use the first 2 points again. But again, it doesn't matter which points you pick. And if you graph it, if you look at the graph, it looks linear, just going down. So my slope was a negative. We found out it to be negative 25 fourths, or the decimals negative 6.25. Plugged in a point to find B, which was 104.75. And then when we put 15 hours in for X, the battery life will be down to 11%. Okay, questions? All right, let me show you how you can use your calculator to figure this stuff out. So get your calculators out. Who's that? Maybe sometime.
Think I might calculate that, but
I'm at church on.
nobody's ever managed to actually accept me.
So again, these are what we call linear regressions, okay? Because we're looking at or finding equations of lines, all right? So just to go over a few things, there's all the work that you were looking at. All right, so just a quick review here. The line of best fit is the line that best models a set of data and lies as close as possible to all the data points. It says many technology tools have a linear regression feature that you can use to find the line of best fit. So our graphing calculator has this linear regression. There's something else that we got to figure out. It's called the correlation coefficient, denoted by R. It's a number that ranges from -1 to +1. When R is near +1, there is a strong positive correlation, and the points lie close to a line with a positive slope. When R is near -1, there is a strong negative correlation, and the points lie close to a line with a negative slope. As R gets closer to 0, the correlation becomes weaker. So the two variables you're looking at, as they get, if they're not close together as far as a correlation, you'll get closer and closer to the number 0, or you can't really tell what it is, okay? So a scatter plot is helpful. That's what we talked about yesterday, in understanding form, direction, and strength of the relationship between the two variables. So the correlation is the strength and direction of the linear relationship between the two variables. So if you look at this one on the left, it's a pretty strong positive correlation, okay? Because they got a positive slope. It's your line that you would put in there goes this way, okay? Your rise and your run would both be positive or both be negative. A negative correlation, that's a pretty strong one, is when you have a negative slope, okay? That's your line. And as you rise down, you're going to run right, or if you go rise up, you're going to run left. When you don't have much of it, when it's like this one on the right here, you see that they're just all over the place, your dots, your scatter plot. It's hard to tell where to draw the line, the best fit, right? That's probably a correlation close to 0. They're not related really in any way, the two variables you're looking at. Okay? So the correlation coefficient is a measure of how well the data will fit, all right? So it's always between -1 and +1. If you get a 1, then you'll get an actual, all the dots all your points would line up on the line. You could put a line right on it, okay? If you have a negative, it'll be a straight line. If it's -1, they all line up, okay? But here's some examples again. That first one is about a -0.95, that's close to -1. The second one is -0.6. The middle one there is close to 0, and a +0.6 and a +0.95. So we're going to use our graphing calculator to find these, all right? So the first thing we have to do is turn our diagnostics on, okay? So let me show you how to do that. We're not going to get very far today, which is okay. We'll just do some more today, or on Monday. All right, so to do, turn your diagnostics on, as you can see, it says catalog here. Catalog is above the 0. If you hit second 0, you'll get to that catalog menu. So hit second 0 on your calculator. All right, you can see that A up in the top right-hand corner, right? That's for meaning it's in alphabet mode. All right. If you look above math, you see the letter A, and above apps, B, and programs, C, and then the X inverse, D, and so on. All right. We want to get to the D group because we want to turn our diagnostics on. So if you hit this X inverse, it should jump to the D. All right. So that's all I did is hit the X inverse where I saw the capital D above the button and it jumped to the D's. So now I'm going to hit my down arrow keys until I see diagnostics on. So there it is. All right. So now what you want to do is hit enter twice. Enter, diagnostics on, and then hit enter and it'll say done. Okay. So now you've turned your diagnostics on. When you do a problem, you'll be able to find that R value. Your calculator will find it for you. Okay. So again, catalog was second 0. And then when you see, whenever you hit this alpha button, you'll see that A for alphabet there. Then you could hit a button, it'll put an actual letter up there for you, wherever your letters are. Okay, so that's the first thing. Turn your diagnostics on. Okay? Anybody having a problem with that? Good, you guys are listening. Nice. All right, so here's the one we were looking at yesterday. Lengths of femurs and heights of centimeters. So what you can do is put these two tables in your calculator. Okay, so that's what we're going to do next. All right, so to do that, let me move this over. Okay, now I'm going to clear my history. So I'm going to leave this key history up here. That's what I'm hitting. So to put in a list of numbers. Let's get them all there so I can see it. Hit stat. It's right here under the delete button, kind of in the middle there. Hit stat and edit. So just hit enter. And it says on those yellow or gold papers I gave you how to do this. All right, that's the first thing it's showing you for linear regressions. So you should have an L1, L2, L3. 3 lists at the top. Anybody not have those numbers? L1, L2, L3. You with me, Cindy? You keeping up with your calculator? Okay. All right. Now, what we're going to do in L1 is we're going to put these numbers in. So just hit 40, enter, and 45, enter, and it'll do that whole list. So put that list in. All right, so I got 45. Now, to get your Y or your L2, just hit your right arrow key and it'll jump over for you to the L2. So I hit the right arrow key, and now I'm going to put the 170 to the one, that Y list in there. And just hit enter after each one. Just check your work. Don't get in a big hurry. If you don't put it in the right numbers, then you're not going to get the same answer that the rest of us get. When we do this stuff by hand, we all get a little bit different answer. But when we're all using our calculator, we'll all get the same answer. Anybody having issues putting the numbers in their list? Vince, you still don't have a calculator? Are you planning on getting one? What do you mean you don't know? Well, have you tried or not?
I brought it up and they just said you did it. You did it.
You need to remind somebody, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. TJ, you don't have one? Oh, no. That's not
That's
good.
not good. That's not good. At all.
That's not good. Yes.
Anyway.
Getting your list in? Right, you got different buttons. You might have to look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and go to stat.
Oh, no.
That's what it says there.
Calm it down. It's late at night, man. I did. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, I'll-
Like, wrong.
There's a stat button.
I have no idea. Yeah, I
That looks like the one you want, stat. Okay, so, all right. So now, to get our line of best fit, now, we can also draw the stat plot too. I'll show you how to do that too. See above y equals, it says stat plot. So if you have second stat plot, all right, just hit enter. That'll put you at the first one. And right now, off is highlighted, but it's blinking on. If I hit enter, it'll turn it on. The type I want is the first type. That's the scatter plot. And then our list should be L1, L2. And the mark, I always do, this is a little box, but you can do the plus sign or the dot. But I always just leave the mark as a box, kind of let you do it. So if you hit zoom now to graph this, zooms this middle top one, all right, and go down to, I think it's 9. Yeah, or zoom stat, because we're doing some statistics here, and hit enter. It'll graph the scatter plot for you. So zoom 9 after you get those lists in. All right, zoom 9. So that scatter plot, this is, this is the scatter plot that goes with this information that you just got. Zoom is at the very top, middle. 2 to the right of your y equals button. All right, we're going to run out of time, but I want to get the equation here real quick. I'll show you how to get the equation. All right? So, to do the equation, go back to the stat button. So I hit stat, and then I'm moving the right arrow key to calculate. All right, so you should have that screen. Okay? These are called linear regressions. So it's number 4. Okay? So you hit number 4, and mine's an older one, so I just hit enter, and it'll give me these numbers. Some of you with the newer ones, when you hit linear regression, you have to go down to and highlight calculate at the bottom of your screen, and then it'll do what mine's going to do. So it gives us this information. This information is how I can get the equation of the line. It also tells me the correlation. See R down here at the bottom, the 0.99? That's a strong positive correlation. See how close to a straight line my points are? Yeah, we didn't turn on the, I gave it to you after we turned on the diagnostic.
Just take that home.
All right, so we'll play with this a little more on Monday. So don't worry about doing any homework tonight. All right, even though it says there's some homework, we won't have any homework. We'll practice this a little more in class, and then we'll do some for homework on Monday. Any questions? Keep that gold paper. You want to keep that so you can refer to it when you're using your calculator. And again, if getting a calculator is an issue, come see me. We'll figure it out. If you don't come talk to me, I can't help you out.